Hello everybody, this is Javamonk, and welcome back to the Card Game Hub. The Card Game Hub is the server where you can join on and play card games with me and also your friends, and here's the server IP. So today, I would like to show you the new game in the Card Game Hub, Hearts. So to access the game, go over to this panel of switches. This will give you access to the actual arenas. Flip the switch for Hearts, at which point you walk into the orange room and stand on the orange concrete powder for a couple seconds. And that will bring you to this arena. Hearts is a strategic, competitive game that can be played with anybody between 2 and 6 players, although 3 and above is optimal. So now let's go into IRL, and I'll show you how to play this game.
Hello, welcome to IRL. Here I'll be showing you how to play Hearts. Hearts is a trick-winning strategy game that can be played with anybody anywhere between 3 and 6 players. You can also play with 2 players, although that's not exactly optimal for the strategies. So, the first thing you do is distribute your deck of cards to everybody evenly. So here we'll have 3 players. In the distributing process, if you have a remainder card, put it aside. This card will be won eventually, just not right away. So, this is your player's hand. So, you may look at it privately, and you're not supposed to see the other player's cards. Here, however, we will make an exception because this is a tutorial. So here are the hands. I sorted them with clubs, then diamonds, followed by spades, followed by hearts. So here's everybody's hand, and in the middle, I'm gonna put the actual cards that are being played. So I mentioned that this was a trick winning game. So what does that mean? It means one person is going to lead with a card and play it in the middle, at which point everybody plays a card into the middle following some kind of cycle. So for instance, they're going to play that, and say I'm going to play that. And then once everybody plays down a card in the middle, this is called a trick. And then somebody is going to win a trick when a certain condition is met. So in this case, essentially whoever wins the trick puts it down in front of them, they just won those cards. And then usually whoever wins the trick begins the next trick. So the starting player, the player who starts off the gameplay, is the person who has a 2 of clubs. So when you're playing a card, you can only play a card with the suit that is being led. The leading player is the person who puts down the first card in the trick. So in this case, that is clubs. That means if you have clubs in your hand, you must play clubs. You can't play anything else. So let's say the turn order goes this way. This person is leading player. So let's say this player decides to play a ace of clubs, like that. And I'm gonna play the king of clubs. The winner of the trick is the person who played the highest card of the suit that was led. So remember, this is the leading player, they played down a club. The highest card, the card order is standard, it's the 2, 3, 4 through 10, and then Jack, Queen, King, Ace. So in this case, Ace is highest, which means the person who played the ace, this person, is going to win the trick. So these 3 cards are now going to go face down in front of them. Now, you can see what you won. So, and that's important for strategy purposes. And then whoever wins the trick starts the next trick. Now, as lead player, you can start with any card you want except for hearts until a certain condition is met. We'll get to that. Let's say this person starts with a spade. So they start with a 10 of spades. So it's now my turn. I can decide whether or not I can basically guarantee that I take the trick if I play a high enough spade, but I gotta be concerned, do I actually want to take this trick? So we'll get to why you would want or not want to take a trick. But here I'm going to decide to play a jack of spades, which is slightly higher than a 10, which means I'm probably gonna take this trick. And then this player is gonna play an ace of spades. You don't have to always win a trick with ace, but that's what this player is going to decide. So they just won that trick. The goal of the game is to get as few points as possible. So hearts, if you win a heart, it is worth 1 point. If you win the queen of spades, it's worth 13 points. So queen of spades is a big deal. So normally you do not want points. Points are bad. However, if you get all 26 possible points, that's the queen of spades and every single heart, if you get 26 points, then it's called shooting the moon, which means rather than gaining 26 points, you actually drop your score by 26 points. So shooting the moon is ridiculously difficult, just FYI, but it is possible. This is probably not going to happen though. So some unfortunate souls come out probably going to get this queen of spades. So here we're going to put this player just won the previous trick, so they're going to play a 6 of spades. Now, turn order goes to this player. This player does not have any spades. So that means they can play literally whatever they want. So sometimes this is a good way to strategically get rid of cards, including the queen of spades. You can basically throw the queen of spades onto someone by doing this. However, in this particular instance, we're going to play a heart. When the first heart is played, it's called hearts being broken. This basically means you can now lead with hearts. Now for me, I could dodge the points, which I think is what I want to do. Basically play a card with a number intentionally lower than the leading, or intentionally lower than whatever the highest card is. So in this case, the 6 of spades, spades was the leading suit because this was the leading player. The hearts don't count for the purposes of ranking, and the 5 of spades is lower than a 6. And therefore, this player wins the trick and also wins 1 point. When hearts are won for the first time, the winner of that trick also wins the remainder card, which in this case was nothing. It's useful information. And so gameplay continues. Now the lead player can lead with a heart. Let's say they don't want to do that though. They go 3 of spades, which is one of the lowest possible. And let's say this person decides to play a 10 of hearts, just so that the person who wins the trick is guaranteed to win a point. And so I want to ensure that nobody can shoot the moon, and one good way to do that is to purposefully take a trick that has a heart. So in this case, I'm going to take it with the king of spades. And now, I gained a point by doing that. But in doing so, I prevented somebody from shooting the moon. So I took one for the team. So gameplay continues just like that. You gotta strategize and try to outmatch your other opponents and try to get as few points as possible in the process. So here's one of those instances where it's useful to be able to play whatever card you want. So here, I don't have diamonds, this person doesn't have diamonds, this is the only person who has any diamonds whatsoever. So I'm going to throw on a heart, and now this player can finally get rid of this queen of spades. So that means this person just won 14 points. 1 for the hearts, 13 for the queen. That's a big deal. This person is about to lose this game pretty rapidly. And usually the last trick is just garbage. Like, pretty much whoever has the leading suit just wins and whoever leads basically just wins the trick. So there you go. a game or a round of hearts has just been played. So now, at the end of the round, everybody counts up their points and sees how much has been won. So here we can see the scoreboard. I won 2 points. This player got 5 points. And this player is quite unfortunate with 19 points. So this player has just lost a round, but they gained 19 points. Points accumulate over multiple rounds, and you basically play until you're tired. And usually you can finish when somebody wins 200 points, or somebody has 200 points, but pretty much just play until you're tired. So there you go. The total number of points in the end should always add up to 26. If it doesn't, something went terribly wrong. So in this case, that's 19 plus 5 plus 2, 26. Now another thing that you can do during gameplay of hearts is you can pass cards at the beginning of the round. So once all the cards are distributed, you can look through your hand, and then they can choose to give 3 cards to the player on their right. And everybody does that. So everybody gives 3 cards to the player on their right. It can help shuffle around some strategies and possibly help you shoot the moon. Or get rid of the Queen of Spades faster, or anything like that. So this is something that you can do at the beginning of a round. And that is how you play hearts IRL. So now, let's see how this was implemented into the card game hub in Minecraft.
So I have 2 bot players over here to help me out with the demonstration. Everything in this game works on right clicks. You'll be right-clicking signs, you'll be right-clicking your cards, you'll be right-clicking everything. So to enter the game, just pick a sign and right-click it. That'll register you as that player. If you want to leave the game, as in deregister as a player, all you have to do is walk over to one of these signs and right-click, at which point you will leave the game. Now, when you are registered as a player, this sign will pop up, and when you right-click this sign, you will be teleported into your corresponding sphere. This sphere will contain a chest with all of the cards that you have won. You'll be automatically put into spectator mode as long as you're inside the sphere, and that way you can look at what you won without being able to modify anything. At which point, once you're done with your viewing, you can then move out of the sphere in any direction. It doesn't matter which direction. And you can't access other people's spheres, and also you can't take fall damage, so just go ahead and jump down. Over on this panel, you can right-click this sign to master reset everything, which will completely erase all your progress. And you can also right-click this to increase the time to resolve the tricks. This does nothing to affect the gameplay, other than it gives people time to see what cards were won before they actually get won. So you can right-click to turn it up, and your options are 0.2 seconds, half a second, 1 second, 2, 5, and 10. When people register as players, they will get these kinds of retro future visors. I got one as well. The color of the visor will always match with the sphere that is yours, and you can't access other people's spheres. So once you have all your players in the game, you can then right-click this sign which says Start Game. That's going to load all the cards, and then it'll give the cards to everybody. So it may have been a little fast there, but you just saw everybody got teleported to a little room where then all the cards were immediately given to everybody, at which point we were teleported back out and spread out around the room. I do need to fix the texture of these cards so that you can't actually see what cards other people have. So the lead player is going to be glowing, and the blue arrow above them will indicate that it's currently their turn. So in my case, I'm the lead player. I'm going to play the 2 of clubs because it's the beginning of the round. And then the turn order will rotate to another player 2, which will rotate the blue arrow, but I will still be glowing to indicate that I am the lead player. So right now you can see if I tried to play a card and it wasn't my turn, then you get a message that says it's not your turn. And then you can see the trick judging cooldown in action as another player is about to play a card. the king of clubs. So they just won the trick, and then we wait for about a second before the trick is then actually won by another player right there. So now another player can right-click on their sign to go up to their sphere and look at the cards that they just won. This indicator up here indicates for when hearts are broken. So the first person to play hearts will make this thing change. So right now hearts are not broken, which means even though another player is the lead player, they can't play a heart yet. And you'll actually be stopped from playing a heart if you tried to play one. So if I tried to play something other than a spades, and I do have spades, but if I tried to play something else, it'll tell me you can't play that. So I have to play a spades. Let's go with the not the ace or the king. That's how I get the queen stuck on me. Let's do the 10 of spades. At which point it's now another player's turn. So they will play the 8 of spades. So here we can see I just won the trick, which means I actually have cards that I can look at. So if I right-click the sign, I can look in here, and there you go, the 3 cards that I won. And then I can just move out of the sphere and hop back into adventure mode. So once again, as the lead player, hearts are not broken, which means I can't lead with hearts, but I can lead with anything else that I want. So here's an interesting situation. Another player too just played down a spades card. Now, it is currently another player's turn, but they don't have a spade. So another player can right now play any card that they choose. Let's say they choose a heart. In this case, the 9 of hearts. When we do this, watch what happens. Hearts are broken. So that means whoever wins the trick is going to win all the remainder cards as well. And also, this indicator up here shows that the hearts have been broken, which means hearts can now be led, and also people can start actually gaining points. The points will not update until the very end of the game, so this point scoreboard will stay like this, at all zeros, until the end of the game. So let's say I decide I do want that heart for some reason. So I now win the trick, and we can see I will also win the remainder card. We know that this King of Diamonds is the remainder card, and unfortunately, it was another player too that had the Queen of Spades and is unable to get rid of it, or was unable to run out of spades soon enough, and therefore they're about to win a bunch. They're about to win a bunch of points. The one caveat with this Minecraft version is, in the real life version, you're able to essentially declare that the rest of the cards are yours if you're pretty confident that you have the highest cards of all the relevant suits. However, in this Minecraft version, you can't do that. You have to play through the entire round. And this is the last round, by the way. So basically everybody just distributes their junk. And now we're at the end of the game, at which point the points get tallied up, and then all the spheres get wiped, so you can't see what you won. Instead, it's just the points that were won in that round. And then, at the end of the round, you can right-click this sign again to get some more cards and play another round. And so, yeah, that's hearts. Pretty much just do that over and over, play until you're tired. The one feature of IRL hearts that I did not really implement into this Minecraft version is the ability to pass cards to each other at the beginning of the round. So if you still want to do that, you can probably just run over to a corner and drop your cards off there and like just rotate around picking up cards. I didn't really implement that because it just seemed a little too complicated. This is a fairly simplistic game and with simplistic mechanics, so I just kept things as simple as possible. So there you go, Hearts, the new game in the Card Game Hub. The server is open whenever I'm live streaming, or if ever I figure out how to do a 24-hour server, it'll be open just all the time. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy playing these games. I'll see you next time.